Attention passionate Detroit, Lions fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Detroit Lions' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Detroit Lions fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Detroit Lions fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying attention to the NFL lately, you know that the Detroit Lions, a team that's been building up momentum over the past few seasons, is at a critical juncture. And I mean a real turning point. The offseason always stirs up a lot of excitement, but this year it's different. It's not just about adding new players or tweaking the roster. No, what's happening now is more substantial, more impactful for the Lions' future. And that's what we're here to talk about today, an announcement that could shake things up in the NFC North and potentially set the Lions on a new path towards Super Bowl contention. So, let's start with the big news that has fans and analysts alike buzzing. The Lions' roster has taken a significant hit recently. And I don't mean just a small blow. We're talking about a major departure that could have ripple effects across the entire team. The All-Pro center, Frank Ragnow, one of the most dependable and versatile players on the roster, announced his retirement. Now, for those of you who follow the Lions closely, you know how critical Ragnow has been to their offensive line. His leadership, skill, and consistency have been pivotal in protecting Jared Goff and creating running lanes for the backs. His decision to hang up the cleats at this stage of his career leaves a huge void. Losing a player of Ragnow's caliber isn't just about replacing a talent. It's about filling a leadership gap, maintaining protection, and ensuring that the offensive line remains one of the best in the league. The Lions now face the challenge of finding someone who can step in and bring the same level of performance and veteran savvy. It's a task that's easier said than done, especially considering how integral Ragnow was to their offensive success. This situation puts the Lions in a position where they must be proactive in their offseason moves, looking for a solution that can at least mitigate the impact of losing such a key piece. But here's the thing, this isn't just about Ragnow. The Lions have been building around Jared Goff, trying to craft a potent offense capable of competing with the best in the league. They've invested in their offensive line through the draft and free agency, but the loss of Ragnow is a stark reminder of how fragile even the best-laid plans can be. It emphasizes the need for strategic moves in the offseason, not just to replace him, but to fortify other weak spots that could be exploited by tough defenses. As we look ahead to the 2024 season, the Lions are undoubtedly aware that their path to another playoff run, and possibly a deep postseason push, depends on how well they adapt to these roster changes. Now, what about the defensive side of the ball? Well, the Lions have been working diligently to bolster their pass rush and overall defensive depth. One area that's been under scrutiny is their edge rushing core. You see, the NFL has become increasingly pass-oriented, and teams that can generate pressure on quarterbacks are at a significant advantage. Last season, the Lions' pass rush was decent but not elite. They struggled at times to consistently pressure the opposing QB, especially in critical moments. That's why the recent discussions about potential offseason additions have become so intense. In particular, there's a lot of buzz around the idea of bringing in a veteran pass rusher that could make a real difference, and one name that keeps coming up is Von Miller. Now, for those of you who have been following the league, you know that Von Miller is a name synonymous with pass rushing excellence. He's a Super Bowl MVP, a guy who's been a dominant force in the league for over a decade. Recently, some NFL analysts, including Justin Milo from the Draft Network, have suggested that the Detroit Lions should consider signing Miller. And this isn't just random speculation. It's rooted in strategic thinking, especially considering the Lions' current roster needs. Let's talk a little about Von Miller's recent form. Sure, he's not the same player who terrorized offensive lines during his Super Bowl-winning days with the Denver Broncos. But don't dismiss what he can still bring to the table. Last season, with the Buffalo Bills, Miller played limited snaps, only about 279 in 13 games, but he still managed to rack up 6 sacks and 32 pressures, according to Pro Football Focus. That's impressive, especially considering he's now 36 years old and has missed 15 games over the past 3 seasons. It's clear that Miller isn't the player he was at his peak, but he's still a valuable asset, especially as a situational pass rusher. And that's exactly what makes him an intriguing target for the Lions. They could utilize him as a pass rush specialist, bringing him in on obvious passing downs to give Jared Goff and the offense a different look. It's about adding versatility and veteran savvy to a defense that needs to generate more pressure. Remember, the Lions face an incredibly tough schedule in 2025, with some of the league's best quarterbacks and offensive lines ready to test them. Having a player like Miller, even if only for a season or two, could provide that extra edge they need to turn close games into wins. Of course, there are questions about durability and age. Miller has missed a lot of time lately, and at 36, his window isn't as wide as it used to be. But sometimes, you don't need a full-time starter, you need a guy who can come in and make an impact in specific situations. The Lions have shown they're not afraid to take calculated risks in free agency or the draft, and adding a veteran like Miller could be one of those moves. If the price is right, it might be a win-win scenario. Miller gets a chance to chase another ring, and Detroit gets a seasoned pass rusher with playoff experience. Now, let's zoom out a little and think about what this all means for Detroit's overall strategy. The Lions have been on the rise for a few years now, building a team that's competitive, disciplined, and hungry for more success. They've made smart draft picks, developed young talent like Aiden Hutchinson, and brought in key free agents to complement their core. But they also know that to truly contend for a Super Bowl, they need to fine-tune every aspect of their roster. The loss of Ragno hurts, no doubt, but it also opens the door for new leadership and opportunity in the offensive line. The potential signing of a veteran pass rusher like Von Miller would reinforce their defense, especially the pass rush, which is often the difference-maker in close games. All of this ties into the bigger picture: Detroit's current trajectory, their ambitions, and the blueprint they're following to get back to the top. For fans like you and me, it's exciting because it shows that the Lions are not just content with being a playoff team anymore. They want to be true contenders, even Super Bowl favorites, and every move they make this offseason is a step toward that goal. The NFL is a league of constant evolution, and Detroit is clearly playing the long game, making strategic decisions that could pay off in the next few seasons. Looking ahead, it's easy to get caught up in the predictions, the roster moves, and the draft prospects. But what's most important is the mindset of this team. They're resilient, they're innovative, and they're hungry. The loss of a star like Ragno is tough, but it also reminds everyone that no team is perfect, and in the NFL, adaptability is key. The Lions have shown they're capable of overcoming obstacles before, and I believe this offseason will be no different. We're going to see some bold moves, some unexpected signings, and hopefully, a roster that's even more dangerous than last year. As fans, we should be excited about the possibilities. The Lions are not just trying to fill a gap. They're aiming to elevate their entire game, to take that next step towards Super Bowl glory. The NFC North remains a competitive division, with teams like the Vikings, Bears, and Packers all vying for supremacy, but Detroit's focus is clear. They want to dominate, they want to prove doubters wrong, and they want that Lombardi Trophy in Ford Field once again. And the good news is they're not just talking about it, they're making moves, and that's what truly matters. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUB algorithm to keep recommending the latest Detroit Lions news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. So in conclusion, keep an eye on Detroit this offseason. The changes are happening, and they're happening for a reason. The Lions are positioning themselves for greatness, and every decision they make is a piece of the puzzle that could lead them right back to the Super Bowl stage. Whether it's finding the perfect replacement for Ragno or adding veteran leadership on defense, Detroit's front office is showing that they're serious about contending now and in the future. As fans, we should be excited, optimistic, and ready for what's coming next. The Lions are on the rise, and I have no doubt that this season could be a pivotal one. The road to Super Bowl glory is never easy, but if there's one team that's ready to fight for it, it's the Detroit Lions. They've got the talent, the drive, and the vision. Let's see how they make it happen. And now, Detroit Lions fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Detroit Lions. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Detroit Lions news.